Hello, hello. So, Joe Biden's White House staff are now thinking of pardoning Donald Trump for politically motivated witch hunt. But don't let this fool you into thinking they found some sort of logic or reason. They're just looking for excuses so they can pardon all their corrupt, all their ridiculous people who abused the law and went after regular people, grandmas put in jail. Yeah, all those idiots. They're just looking for excuses to get them off scot free. And then they're gonna go, oh, but we also pardon Trump. Hey, keep your pardon to your motherfucking self. He's already off to all that shit. And even if he wasn't, he could pardon himself. He doesn't need you. Anyway, let's see what the black conservative perspective has to say about this.
You see yourself ultimately working with folks like Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, who will be heading.
Yeah, I admire Mr. Musk. He's been involved in very important parts of American society, AI, SpaceX, and other kinds of things. Yes, he's on a different team, but that doesn't make me an enemy. I don't be automatically going to become a critic. It's like, hey. He has made, he's made our economy and our nation better, and our politics are different, and I don't agree with some of the things that he might say, but that doesn't make him, like I said, an enemy.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about John Fetterman on The View. Now, John Fetterman is one of these Democrats that clearly is liberal, but, he has moments of common sense, okay? As his brain heals from a stroke, he seems to become more in touch with reality, right? He seems to become more sane, okay? He's one of the Democrats where I'm just like, okay. It's hard for me to really dislike the guy, right? Like, I feel like I would have a great time having a beer with John Fetterman, right? He seems to be funny. He seems to be like a down-to-earth dude, right? He's just a Democrat. So, again, it's hard for me to really dislike him, okay, over politics. Because, again, sometimes he speaks some common sense. Now, this segment that we got to talk about on The View is John Fetterman admitting that the criminal cases against Trump are a political witch hunt, right? They're politically motivated. Now, this is important because Joe Biden came out and pardoned Hunter Biden, and part of his rationale for pardoning his son, even though he promised not to do so, was this idea that, well, the cases against my son is a political witch hunt, right? It's politically motivated, which is fascinating for the president to accuse his own Department of Justice of being politically motivated against him, right? But this is the argument from Joe Biden. This is the rationale behind pardoning his son, even though he promised that he wouldn't do it. And now you have certain individuals like, for example, Chris Cuomo and Stephen A. saying, well, you know what? If Biden is going to do this, then maybe, just maybe, Trump should get a pardon as well. Take a look.
You know what else Biden should do? And I know people are going to get upset about this, but just think about it before you go crazy on me. Not you, sure. Everybody else. If I were he, I would pardon Trump.
You know something? Honestly,
I like how he looks so smug. It looks like, oh, he just came to an epiphany, a great realization. Cuomo da Vinci over here. Dude, what good could that possibly do? He can't be tried for any of that shit anyway. You can only pardon him for federal stuff. None of the federal stuff can move forward if he's president. And even if they went with the New York ridiculous delusion, oh, we'll try it again in 4 or 5 years. You mad. Okay, whatever. I'll just pardon myself. I'm president. I'll just pardon myself before your bitch just tries some nonsense. Then what? This is literally useless, worthless. It's not even good as a gesture of good faith. It's zero good faith. And they're just going to use it as an excuse to abuse that power anyway. I don't need, if I were Trump, I'd just be like, oh, you give me a pardon? Nah, I'm good, doc. Don't need it. I can pardon myself. Bitch ass.
I would say
honestly,
this
as
has got
crazy
to
as
stop.
this sounds, Chris,
I'd pardon.
Chris, that's exactly what I would do. That's exactly what I would do. Enough's enough. You know what? You're the Democrats. You lost the election. You got your butt whipped. You couldn't prevent him from going back to the White House. More than a dozen cases have been dropped against him. The cases that have been ruled against him, he's going to appeal, and he'll probably get off from having to deal with all of that. It's time to move forward. You want to get at Trump, sit back and judge what he does. Guess what? You got a midterm election in 2 years. Are you going to be ready if you're the Democratic Party? You should be. You know, he's going to be the presidency for 4 years. You're going to be able to judge every single act that he does. March forward, move forward. You know, Gerald Ford could have let Nixon suffer. You know, to say he didn't let that happen. Why? Because it was for the good of the country. The whole hanging Chads issue in 2000, Bush and Al Gore. Gore could have dragged it on. He didn't. It was for the better of the country. And a lot of times these folks speak about this stuff, but they don't do what they say they're going to do and what they implore others to do, which is where the disgust elevates exponentially for Washington, D.C., because we know they're full of it most of the time. And today was the latest example of that.
Yeah, so you see, now you heard that.
This is bullshit. They always only come to these realizations when they lose. Initially, before 2022 midterms, Bennett was looking so bad. They were like, oh, maybe we should like have some reconciliation, amnesty for the COVID people. And then they won. They're like, fuck that. Put them in jail. Like, see, they're just doing it all over again. You can't fall for the same trick every freaking time. This is nonsense. Keep your powder to your motherfucking self.
Okay, so yeah, there's this idea floating around here in the liberal media circles that, I don't know, maybe Biden should just pardon Trump, and that will be a good look, right? In the wake of him pardoning Hunter Biden, maybe that will help make up for it. And John Fetterman actually floated this, okay, as he admitted that, yeah, the cases against Trump were politically motivated. They're politically motivated. So therefore, Trump should get a pardon as well, too. And of course, Joy Behar slowly died inside as John Fetterman essentially admitted the quiet part out loud that they refused to acknowledge on the liberal view. Take a look.
It is his son, after all, and people do have sympathy for that. But a lot of people are angry with him about it. What do you say?
Oh, well, I think it's undeniable that the case against Hunter Biden was really politically motivated, but I also think it's true that the trial in New York for Trump that was political as well too. Now it's that, and in both cases, I think a pardon is appropriate, and I really think collectively, America's confidence in these kinds of institutions have been damaged by these kinds of cases. And we cannot allow these kinds of institutions to be weaponized against our political opponents. And it's very clear both trials were politically motivated and weaponized that on the other side.
They'll say that about the J6 people too, though, right? That's what they're going to say on the other side. That
Yes, because it's true. Also, okay, fine.
I'm not referring to that. I'm talking about the New York trial, and now the Democrats on our side there were some that were gleeful, calling it like now he's a convicted felon and those things, and now for our party we were talking about criminal justice, and we're now talking about second chances, and now all of a sudden now you're like, well, he's a convicted felon and all these things, and now clearly again both of those trials, the Hunter Biden one and the trial in New York for Trump. That was politically motivated, and those kinds of charges would have never been brought unless one side could realize that they could weaponize that.
Wow. Yeah, see, they heard that, right? That is the last thing that Joy Behar wanted to hear. She did not want to hear a Democrat admit out loud that, this New York case against Trump, which they often cite as, oh, well, Trump is a convicted felon, right? They often cite this case. That's politically motivated, right? It's politically motivated against Trump, and he should get a pardon for that. That is what John Fetterman is saying. Now, I actually don't necessarily agree with that, and I'm gonna tell you why I don't necessarily agree with that, because I don't think that Trump actually needs a pardon from the New York governor when it comes to the hush money case against him, because I think that Trump will win on appeal. Okay.
Thank you. It's like these people are so kiddish. They've been losing the right I'm talking about now. They've been losing so long that they flinch at every little freaking thing. Grow a backbone. What you need this for? Fight it to the end. He's already winning. These people are fucking pussy. They gave up every fucking time. And now these bitches in the Senate, making excuses why they should subvert the will of the people to protect their deep state. Ridiculous nonsense. This is just pathetic. No compromises. You battle through. Enough of this. Oh, but we'll work together. No, you work together and you just produce shit.
And I think it is better for Trump to win on appeal rather than to get a pardon. If Kathy Hochul pardoned Trump for the hush money conviction, then Democrats will forever say that, well, Trump is a convicted felon and he got a pardon from the governor, right? He got off because the governor let him off, right? But he doesn't need a pardon because I think it is a high chance, it's a high likelihood that Trump is actually going to win on appeal and just have that conviction wiped away, period, which I think is a much better outcome. It is a much better outcome to have that case overturned on appeal than to get a pardon. So I actually disagree with John Fetterman. Like, I understand where he's coming from in regards to him saying that, well, all of this stuff needs to stop and, you know, we need to stop politically persecuting, you know, people in this country or whatever. I get that. I understand that. But Trump doesn't need a pardon. At the state level or the federal level, I don't think that President Trump needs a pardon at all, to be honest with you. Okay, I really don't. And I definitely do not want to see Joe Biden give Trump a pity pardon for his own political gain, because that's the only reason that he would do it. Even though I'm not convinced that it would be a political W for Joe Biden to pardon Trump, because I think the left would outrage over Biden doing that, right? They would be so upset by Biden giving Trump a pardon. And
The worst part is it wouldn't even be Biden doing it. It's his staff. We all know Biden makes no decisions right now. He's sleeping in Africa. So it'll literally be his staff compiling a list and then abusing the president's authority on his behalf. And it's meaningless. You don't need it at all, especially on the federal level. It's automatically off with all the cases, and any that remains, he can pardon himself. They're just going to use it as an excuse. They're like, well, we are so magnanimous. We pardoned him. We shall also pardon our friends. Nah, bitch. I don't need your pardon. Go ahead and show the people how corrupt you are. Then we'll find other ways. Hey, these red states, y'all motherfuckers broke laws in red states. You put red states people in jail. Yeah, we can still get you through the states. Pardon yourself if you want. This shit is far from over.
that would actually cement Joe Biden as one of the worst presidents in history, right? Because the liberal historians will agree with the conservative historians and say, yeah, Joe Biden's terrible, right? After saying that he was so great for the last 3 to 4 years, they're now blaming Joe Biden for Kamala Harris losing. They're upset that Joe Biden pardoned his son Hunter, okay? They're upset about that. And him pardoning Trump would actually just make it a lot worse, right? It would make it a whole lot worse for him with his own party. So I don't think he's going to do it, right? I don't think it's a political winner, and I don't want to see him do it, right? If Trump gets a pardon, then I want to see him pardon himself, right? That's what I want to see. Or if a Republican wins in 2028, then the next Republican president comes in and pardons Trump, right? Because although the federal cases against Trump are gone for right now, they theoretically can come back after he's out of office, right? So, I mean, if a Democrat wins, okay, in 2028, and the DOJ is controlled by Democrats, theoretically they can bring that case back. Just saying. But I think in 2028, if a Republican wins and they take office, I think that is probably a much better look for the next Republican president to come in and say, all right, we're going to pardon former President Trump, just in case someday in the future some deranged Democrat gets in office and they're still going after Trump, 8 years from now, right? Which, I mean, hey, it's a possibility, right? It's a possibility. These people will never stop trying to jail Trump, right? So I don't know. I mean, we've seen Alvin Bragg and Fani Willis come out and say, yeah, we're willing to wait 4 more years, right? We're going to wait 4 more years to try to jail the president. I don't think it's going to happen, but they're most certainly going to try, right? But again, my overall point is that I don't think Trump actually needs a pardon, right? And if he does get a pardon, I would like to see that pardon come from the next Republican president or a Republican governor or something like that. I don't want to see it come from a Democrat, right? I don't want that. But I don't think he needs one, right? Because Trump's not a criminal. He didn't do anything wrong. And I think that New York conviction will be overturned. I don't think he really needs to, be honest with you. Also, on top of that, John Fetterman claimed that the charges against Hunter Biden, the case against Hunter Biden, was politically motivated. Now, I do agree with this, but
I don't. I see why you'd say that. I see it is logical to say that. But it's so undeniable, the crimes that he did commit. First of all, they didn't charge him with so many stuff that he's literally on camera doing, weighing the crystal meth on video while giving instructions to a prostitute. I mean, he was weighing the crystal meth on video, giving instructions to a prostitute, saved the video on his own computer, and it somehow ended with the FBI. What kind of nigga gonna get away with all that? And, oh, but now they're bringing it to just because it's politically convenient. Yeah, your father's DOJ is bringing it to cover their own asses. Otherwise, why would your father be politically motivated to act against you? This is insane.
for different reasons than what the Democrats claim, right? I think that it was politically motivated in the sense that Joe Biden used his son for his own political gain. I really do think that the tax and gun charges against Hunter Biden were there as an excuse for Joe Biden to issue the pardon that he knew that he was going to issue from the beginning. And Joe Biden decided that, you know what? I'm going to issue a broad pardon that covers the time that Hunter Biden was working for Burisma, right? And all of the allegations associated with him working for that company and influence peddling and acting as a foreign agent. I think that that was the whole point of having his own DOJ go after his son, right?
Thank you. Thank you. Oh my God, someone gets it. It's so obvious. They think everyone is stupid. You can see the length of the pardon is just obviously to cover for any of the Burisma stuff. And he's only doing it to help himself because Hunter is the only way through which you can get Joe Biden. He's the only chain linking him to Biden. He was the point of contact. He was the only one making the phone calls. The money came to his account and then disbursed. So it's if he shields him, there's no way to get to Joe if Hunter is shielded. That was the whole point. But they go, these stupid peasants won't get it. Why? Because we are Democrats and we are better and smarter. Only we get it. Yeah, now everyone can see it.
Make it appear as if the DOJ is not biased, right? That they are nonpartisan and that, nobody's above the law, but they all knew that, hey, Hunter Biden's going to get off, right? Eventually, they're going to get him off some way. And Joe Biden was planning for these charges against Hunter, these cases against Hunter, to be used as an excuse to give this broad pardon to Hunter Biden to cover his activities with Burisma, in which Joe Biden was involved as the big guy, right? 10% for the big guy. I think that was the plan the whole time, right? So, yeah. When Democrats come out here and say that the case against Hunter was politically motivated, yes, I agree with you. It was politically motivated. It was just politically motivated in favor of Joe Biden, right? It was all a facade, right? It was all a scheme to get Hunter Biden off for the real crimes that he should be prosecuted for, which have to do with his business dealings in Ukraine and China, in which Joe Biden should be facing charges as well too, right? They both should be facing charges for that. And I think that was the whole point of the cases against Hunter, right? So, John Fetterman here, again, making a little bit of sense, even though I do disagree with him on some things. But I do find it hilarious that Joy Behar clearly didn't like the fact that John Fetterman admitted that, yeah, that case that you guys keep citing against Trump with the 34, felony convictions or whatever they keep saying all the time, yeah, that's politically motivated, which is obviously something that the cackling hen did not want to hear at all. They definitely didn't want to hear that. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.
Love the Black conservative perspective. Greg Foreman does great work. Give him a like and a side if you can. And throw one my way if you can. Thank you. Peace.